I mean, you do have a very high Disney character type voice.
Disney character. Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Front Street Podcast. I did it again. I don't even know how to speak today. Front Street Podcast. My English doesn't work today. My bad, guys. My name is Mr. Moreno, a.k.a. Jaime, a.k.a. The Man. And we have a special guest with us today.
I'm Ms. Petrosky, one of the health science teachers.
Word. Kendra is normally our extra person. Kendra is... I hope she went home because she did not. She was tired. She has the strep is what it's called in the throat things.
I saw her wearing a mask when she came in my
classroom. She did. I was very proud of her. She has strep, so I was like, you know what, Deborah. You know what, Kendra. Deborah's right over there. Shout out to Deborah Rodriguez and Alondra and to Anthony, although I can only see his legs. Yeah, I was like, stay home. All right. You're our first teacher guest this year.
Oh, exciting.
You should be excited. I'm not saying that when we had Jen last year that was one of the videos that had the most views, but it was one of the videos that had the most views.
Oh, okay. So I'm up. I got some stiff competition.
You have some stiff competition. Okay. So whenever we do this, I will ask questions like, hey, what do you want to talk about? And she has something that she wants to talk about, and I am 100% for it. We're going to get to it shortly.
Yes.
But first, okay, so give us the background. How did you become a health science teacher? How did this become a thing for you? Go.
Okay, cool. So I went to nursing school at Stephen F. Austin State University and graduated with my bachelor's degree.
Axum.
Yes, Axum Jax.
Oh, is that what they do?
Yes.
Got
Makes the state of Texas when you do it the right
way.
way.
Oh, my lame. Got it. Okay,
whatever way you do it. I don't know. Can you see? Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to necessarily look at the camera, just so we're...
Okay, I don't have to?
You can look at me.
Okay, cool.
Because there's a camera right in your face, but you can't see it.
Okay, cool.
It's right there.
I was like, I feel like I have to talk over here.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So graduated with my nursing degree. Worked as a nurse at MD Anderson and UTMB in Angleton.
I didn't know you were at MD Anderson. Oh, I guess that's a connection. Did you do
it.
cancer-y stuff? Not to be like that's what MD Anderson does, but their oncology stuff is legit.
I worked on melanoma and sarcoma floor, so skin cancer and rare connective tissue cancers.
What?
So like anything in the bones and the joints, pretty much anywhere they label it a sarcoma.
Okay.
But they're really rare.
So skin and bone situations.
Skin and bones and yeah, all that stuff. So I gave a lot of chemotherapy.
Okay.
Towards the end of my time there, we started giving like new approved drugs like Keytruda, which was like
we're part of those like cool experiences.
Yes, at the time that was like not a very well known or used drug.
Right.
And now it's like everywhere.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's dope. MD Anderson was the place where they created the like fake like measles that attacked brain cancer, and it was like super experimental, and they had success, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually had a patient who had their melanoma had metastasized to their brain. And so
Explain
they did.
What metastasize is for
metastasize is, so usually cancer starts in one area. So melanoma, it started somewhere in the skin, so maybe somewhere on the arm.
Right.
And by the time they went to go get it checked out, it had spread to other areas of the body. So maybe other organs.
Right.
And when it's a stage 4, it's pretty much metastasized
everywhere,
and the blood and everything.
Right.
So melanoma likes the brain, so it was always in the brain.
Really?
That's where it metastasized to.
Yes.
Yes. So we had a guy, they couldn't operate on the tumor because of where it was at.
Without it, you would remove too much brain and that thing wouldn't function. Got it.
Yeah. So they did. They put this like a vaccine. I don't know if it was the measles one or not.
Yeah. I can't remember what they were using, but I remember when it came out, it was like, whoa, that's dope.
Yeah, so they injected him with the like
it was
a
like
vaccine.
But it was like a fake vaccine that killed cancer.
Yeah,
cells.
And so they actually like over the time there, like it actually the tumor in his brain shrunk.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and he had less, like he was having really bad problems with his vision and speech because of where the tumor was at.
Right.
And so that was pretty cool. Like that, yeah, that was
That's
like at that time that was like
stuff,
it was very futuristic.
I mean, even now, like they're still like doing what they can to fight like cancer, but like even now, that's still like that's futuristic stuff.
Oh yeah. Lots of cool things happening at MD Anderson.
Yeah,
I loved it.
And then you worked at UTMB in Angleton.
Worked at UTMB in Angleton. I moved there because I had kids. I wanted to be closer to home. I live in Angleton.
A-Town, baby!
Wildcat for life.
Purple Pride never dies, people. It never dies. Go ahead.
So worked there for a couple years and actually worked with some of our health science practicum students at the time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or clinical students. It was Stephanie and
Reyes and all them?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, they were
so
practicum.
They were on practicum, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to teach? Because our teachers are leaving." And I was like, I actually do enjoy like working with the new nurses and working with the students and stuff to kind of show my, skills and knowledge. So I applied and
Boom.
Mr. Yost said yes.
Got that job.
So I've been here this is my 4th year teaching.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
We did tip together?
Yes.
Okay.
You were
Tip
the cool
is
guy, so like everyone wanted to talk to you. No one knew me, so it was
gang. That's the new teacher training. Before you, I already know your face. Get over it. I already know where you're going with it. Yep, you. Anthony's over there making funny faces. Children. Okay, and married to.
Yes, I'm married to Shane.
Shane.
We've been together for 6 years.
Yep.
Got married last summer, not this past summer, but the summer before that.
Yes.
We have 2 kids, 5 and 9.
Yeah. 5 and 9.
Yeah.
No more.
No more. No.
Like
no,
for
no,
sure,
no.
for sure, or
Absolutely.
you're like still up in there.
No.
Babies are horrible. for the
I'm
record.
of the theory that once
Yes.
my kid can like partially take care of himself, like he
Yeah,
he can get out a Lunchable and he can
I'm
get a
with you.
drink out of the fridge and
I'm
like
with
he can
you.
use the bathroom. I'm
I'm
done.
with you. Yeah, I'm with you. When Joaquin was like 3, 4, whenever he was like able to like basically take care of himself, not to that level, but
Mhm.
like at some
Right.
extent. My mother-in-law used to be like, "You should have a girl," and I'm like, "No,
Mm-mm.
2's good. We
Yeah.
got our 2 boys. We're done. Don't have. You can have." I was like, "You can have kids. I'm not having any more kids. Why, bro? They're expensive
They're very expensive.
and they complain,
hmm
and it's not worth it."
Like, thank God for my daughter because Declan is a wild man. And, like, my daughter has the most patience in the world. She's like extra little mama over there.
Yeah, we're not telling his business, but he definitely got in trouble recently.
He did get in trouble. At
It was
school,
pretty bad.
The principal called me. I was devastated. He's only in kindergarten, and he's already starting out.
So bad. It's all downhill from here. No more naps after this, bro. It's downhill.
No, he stopped naps, like, when he was 3.
He definitely needs a nap. He needs a nap.
Yeah, he definitely needed a nap that day. He was bad.
We're not going into details, but it was like MMA class. It was
It was
ridiculous.
definitely some.
There was definitely some WWE
stuff
acting.
happening at school.
It was pretty legit. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get to know. We got to know you now. We're gonna ask 2 questions because
Okay.
the other one I want to get into, and then we're gonna go deep in this one.
Okay.
Okay. So first question is, what is a current hot take? It doesn't have to be educational based. It just give me a hot take. Go.
Okay, hot take. I do not like when people want to go the speed limit in the left lane.
It's so funny.
It really irritates me. Like there's signs that say
Left lane is for passing only.
passing only. I don't care if you are going the speed limit. If someone is behind you, they are trying to pass you. You should move over.
Get out of the way.
I don't care if you're already going 75 or 80. Move over.
If Mama Petrosky's coming in her minivan
Move over.
going 90, scooch.
Yeah.
So I posed this question as a warm-up question literally last week. Was it last week? Where I was like, if you could create a law, what would the law be? It was last Monday. I feel like Germany has this right in that their Autobahn, there's no speed limit.
Absolutely.
But they follow the left-hand lane is for fast people only rule.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they don't get in the way unless they're passing. And if they're passing, they're going 120.
Absolutely.
And they're going to get out of the way.
Yeah.
They're not going to hang out in the left-hand lane.
Mm-mm.
I think the problem is that we were not taught that rule, and it's not enforced.
Absolutely. I believe there should be a police officer designated to be on the highways, just so that way they can enforce this law.
I agree.
It's so annoying. And people are like, well, you're speeding. But technically, am I? Because in East Texas, like the speed limit's like 85. So am I really?
This ain't East Texas, though,
I
fam.
don't care, but somewhere in the state it's legal. So is it like just because it's illegal
Hold
in
on,
Missouri
pause.
County?
Pause. There is no way in East Texas the speed limit's 85 miles an hour.
Absolutely. Look it up.
What highway are we talking about?
59.
No.
Yes.
Google search this. Somebody.
80 to 85. There is
no
limit.
way you can go 80 to 85 in East Texas.
Yes, you can. They have better emission ratings than we do. We can only go slow because of the plants. That's why we can't go any faster than 65. It's because our emissions are too high. East Texas, full of trees, full of oxygen.
Are you serious?
Yes.
We're moving to East Texas.
Look it up.
Somebody look this up. Where's my somebody vet this? Is it true?
Google.
Are you serious?
Who looked it up? Deborah, you're such a good girl. Boom.
That's wild.
It's because our emissions are so poor down here.
Is that legit the reason?
Yes, it absolutely is.
Because it's so disgusting. Because
like if I ever get a ticket for speeding, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna be like, look, I mean, is it really illegal? Because in East Texas, it's not illegal.
What a great argument.
Because technically, I'm just in the wrong part of the state at the wrong time.
That's a great argument.
I think it is.
I will say most of highways, like Interstate 10, when you're going west, you can go at 75 to 80. Like the speed limit changes as you go further west. Yeah. I agree with that.
Further east as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're just about being a speed limit. You tell me, is Fast and the Furious your favorite movies? Be honest.
Absolutely. Yes. Sometimes I pretend I'm a street racer.
That's so good.
No, but I'm safe when I speed. I don't I don't weave in and out of traffic. I don't like people that do that. You're making it very unsafe for everyone around you. But like if I've got a firm grip on the wheel
and you're going,
I'm going.
Get out of the way.
Yeah.
I like this idea.
It's only illegal because of where we live.
I think again, if left-hand lane for passing only was enforced, it's not a law. And I'm saying this in Europe, that's a law. You cannot hang out in the left-hand lane. You have to only pass and move on. Everybody else stays in the right. They don't have the traffic that we do.
Right.
So I'm with you. This is a good one. Huh. Can I tell you my hot take?
Go ahead.
I hate that we have a toll on 288. Because it's too expensive for people to ride on.
It's super expensive.
It's like $8 to go from Pearland to like Shadow Creek, fam.
I know.
It's like 2 minutes away.
I've never been on such an expensive tollway. I guess because they were already so established, like they're only paying for.
I think tollways in general are stupid. Do you know why? Why? They don't pay for anything.
They're responsible for the upkeep of the road. Does that mean that they do it?
No.
But they are technically responsible for the upkeep of the road.
I understand that. You know 130 and like 71, all the ones in Central Texas, they only cost like 50 cents to like $1 to be on them. Mm-hmm. Bro, Houston's stupid with the prices. Also, it doesn't help traffic. I don't care what anybody says. No. The more roads you build doesn't equal the less traffic. It actually equals more traffic because you have to interrupt so much stuff in order to do the construction. That's why no construction's ever finished. 35 that was supposed to expand in Austin to like 8 lanes going both ways. How long has 35 been worked on? 10 years.
Long time.
They're never going to fix it.
Yeah, living near Houston.
Maybe my hot take is I just hate traffic. I hate bad drivers.
Yes.
I don't think teenagers should be able to drive. I said what I said, and I'll say it again 15 times. Teenagers should not be able to drive.
Okay, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon because I actually got my hot take because of a student in my class said, yeah, man, I'll be cruising in the left lane at 70. And I'm like, get out of the way. Like,
teen drivers are horrible.
They think they're going fast, but bro, you're only going 5 miles over the speed limit. Like, move over.
Back up. Teen drivers are bad drivers. I was a teen driver. I was a horrible driver. I think I'm a great driver now. I'm a defensive driver. I don't like to I'm good. I'm gonna stay on my right lane.
Very offensive driver.
I've already established it. We've established that. But teenagers drive bad. It's why our insurance premiums are so high. It's why death rates on roads is so high.
Yeah.
Because teen drivers don't know what they're doing. They panic, they freak out, they swerve everywhere, and then they get into wrecks and people die.
Or they're like overly cautious and go like 20 miles below the speed limit, which also creates traffic problems.
It does it as well.
It can cause wrecks as well. Just because you're going under the speed limit doesn't mean that
I agree.
You're being a safe driver.
So me and Petrosky are anti-teen drivers.
Yes. Except for when it's my kids' turn to drive because I don't want to drive them everywhere.
I understand that as well.
Yes.
You think it should be 18 instead of 16?
Yeah, that would be a good age.
They can't drive until they're 18.
Yeah. Because
people don't follow permits either. At 15, parents be like, go to the store by yourself. And it's like, bro, they're 15 years old. They don't need to be.
I have so many students who are like, man, I got pulled over yesterday and all I have is my permit. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing driving by yourself?
Where's the adult person with the ID, with the driver's license?
Heck?
We can say heck.
Okay.
Melina, we can say heck. Heck is good. We can say heck. All right.
Okay, cool.
Melina gave us the green light. There's sometimes where I'm like, I feel like I'm about to say a word and I got to stop myself.
Yes.
Because if this was a non-school related podcast, I would say words sometimes.
Yes.
I get frustrated. Okay, I'm with you. Teen driver's bad. Be in the right lane or get out of the way whenever Mama Petrosky's coming in her minivan. Got it. Are you have a minivan, don't you?
Yes, a maroon
minivan mafia. I want to be part of the minivan mafia as well.
They're pretty nice. I couldn't afford a Tahoe, so that's what I settled for.
Way more room. They got some giddy ups. I'm just saying.
They've got the screens for the DVDs.
Minivan mafia.
Yeah, man.
Okay. So I asked you, I texted you, I said, what are you passionate about? Mm-hmm. In your response, I thought it was the opposite of what I thought it was, but I love your response.
Okay.
So the thing that you're passionate about is sex ed.
Yes, absolutely.
I hear you. Don't look at me crazy. That was good. Okay. Now, so that everybody is on the same page, not every state in the United States does sexual education the same.
Correct.
Certain states are a little bit more what people would call maybe liberal about it, and then some states are very conservative about it. Before we go into this, let me give you some legit facts because I've looked this up. States that only teach abstinence only have a higher teen pregnancy rate than states that actually do a better job of doing sex ed.
Can you define abstinence for them?
Abstinence meaning no sex at all, right?
Yes.
So states that only talk about that, the teen pregnancy rate is much higher. I will say teen pregnancy rate is way higher in the South.
Yes.
Because they primarily only teach abstinence only education when it comes to sex ed. Mm-hmm. Other states, and I will say other countries, they start at a much younger age to understand what they're talking about with it, and there's a lot more stuff that goes in with it. Again, pregnancy rates are way lower in teens in those places. Mm-hmm. California has one of the lowest teen pregnancy rates, and they are very open about their conversation when they have it. They started at like 4th grade or something like that, and then they work their way up. Okay. Give me your take. Give me your thing.
Okay. So sex education in Texas, and around 3rd grade, you do that little video of this is my body and here's what my body's going to go through.
Right.
And then in 5th grade, you learn about the opposite sex.
Right.
After that, you're kind of done. Like, hopefully your parents teach you something, because if not, you may not learn it and you'll find out the hard way.
Right.
So teaching health science, sex ed is actually in my curriculum.
Right.
So I take that and use it as an advantage to teach my students. We start in midterm, which is my freshman level class. And we talk about safe sex, STDs, and what to look for on a partner.
As we should.
Very important. And I don't know if Deborah remembers, but in principals and midterm, I always say, turn a light on, look at it. If it doesn't look right, you say no thank you and you walk away.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because they're STDs, some of them can be very, very debilitating.
Correct.
Can actually lead to death.
I agree, especially if it's untreated. There are specific ones that can go into your brain and cause
syphilis,
death. 100%.
Yes, absolutely.
These are all facts, people. Before somebody comes at me with a blah, 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 you should be talking about this. These are facts.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Herpes is, people like to call it the gift that keeps on giving, because even if
it is forever,
it's forever. Even if you don't show signs of
it is
herpes,
you can still spread it.
You can still spread it. Absolutely.
Yep.
So we talk about STDs and what to look for. Everyone likes to laugh when I say turn on the lights. Like, well, that's not very romantic. I don't care. Like, look at it. Take out your little phone or your little flashlight and take a little look-see.
Yeah. So I do know in junior high, I think they do anatomy stuff when it comes to knowing what parts are what. Is it 6th grade, 6th or 7th grade? They do that in a science class or something, or in health. They used to make coaches do it, and I'm like, why does the coach need to be talking about? Is it coaches that do it? Oh, but it is in junior high, right? Where they do that. So they do that. I know that. And I think when you get to high school, it depends on the class that you have. Health is no longer a thing.
Correct, which is very disappointing.
Which is disappointing because at least at the bare minimum in health classes, you can learn about taking care of a baby, the cost of it. In my in my human growth and development class, we do a lot of that. We go over what it costs to eat, like because you have to increase your calorie level. You go into the prices of everything. You make meal plans, all of that stuff. But in high school, only if you take those classes do you get exposed to that. Your argument would be, I'm assuming, that this shouldn't be an elective thing. This should be a mandatory thing.
Yeah, so whenever I was in high school in Angleton,
A-Town, baby.
Health class was required. I think I took in 8th grade. It was a required credit. Not that we learned anything because, again, it was like coaches teaching it and they were focused on their sport.
Shout out to Coach Wright. I don't know if he's ever going to see this, but my health teacher, he was very like, guys, you need to know this. Blah, 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 blah. We saw the birthing video.
Yes.
We had
my kids love that.
Yeah. We had to do a whole lot. There was a whole like grading period over like reproductive system and sex education. I agree.
Yeah. So we talk about the reproductive systems. Sometimes in 9th grade or 10th grade, this is the first time they've been exposed to pictures of the opposite sex. We talk about the pregnancy process, the birthing process. I make them watch a live birth. They're usually like, oh, that's so gross. And I'm like, well, maybe
this is what it is like.
Maybe you'll remember that.
I will say that we're going to watch a version of that, but it's going to have like mannequins. We're not going to actually watch a full-on one.
Oh,
but
there's real videos.
No, I know, but even the mannequin ones are pretty, like, you see it. Plus the placenta and what that looks like. There's a whole thing. Yeah, there's a whole vibe.
Yeah, so I think it should be mandatory. I wouldn't mind teaching that. I mean, I do teach it, in
those
part of my curriculum
classes.
in those specific classes, but I think it should be a mandatory class again, taught by someone who actually wants to teach that. But Texas doesn't fund those classes anymore because they believe in abstinence only.
So I will say when I was in high school many, many years ago, it was a while, we used to get shown a video from the health clinic. And they would come, it wasn't videos, it was like slides. And somebody would come and they would have a whole presentation that you had to get your parents to sign off on. But you would go into the auditorium and this dude spent about 30 minutes and literally would show slides of this is what this STD looks like on a body. This is what this looks like. This is what this looks like. This is what this looks like. He would emphasize the entire time, wash your hands. Be careful. He would do that. I saw things that I never thought I would see. I'm going to tell a story. Y'all are going to get grossed out, but it doesn't matter. He showed a slide. It was of a mid-20s man. It was his penis. And he said, this was an easy case for us. And he's like, and if you want to know why, it's because it rotted off. And
that can absolutely happen.
He said, and I quote, we literally at the clinic just removed it. And I was like, that's wild. Guess what I do every day? I wash my hands anytime I'm in the bathroom. Because he kept saying, you need to wash your hands. Don't just assume that you've taken a shower and that means the urinal's clean. He's like, ladies, don't assume that when you go to the bathroom and you sit down that just because you take care of yourself doesn't mean everybody else does. He's like, you must wash your hands. I have been diligent on that ever since then. At home, I don't care. I'm washing my hands with soap because that freaked me out. It scared me. And it should, because I think you would agree, especially now, especially with social media and especially with like the ability, like the ease of it, you can find things on the internet at way quicker than you could 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And you were exposed to way more. But you're not exposed to it correctly. Most kids are exposed to it in a way that they have no idea what it is. I tell this,
or have someone to explain it to them.
So in my argument too would be in some places, and I will only go because I've hosted exchange students. Certain countries will start this at a younger age, but they go not just into like the concept of intercourse, but they talk about the feelings that you have and why it leads to that. It's a whole gamut of like, it's an emotional education. It's a mental health type education on it. It is the actual, like, you get to know all of the parts to it, all of it, right? Because I tell this to kids all the time. I think kids nowadays just think whatever we can go be with a person is not a big deal. Most people don't understand this, that when you have a physical relationship with somebody, it does something to you mentally and spiritually. Like, there's something to that. And I think that kids oftentimes are just like very blasé about it. Like, it's whatever, I don't care. And then feelings are hurt, and then they can't get over feelings because they don't know how to express that, and they didn't know exactly what they were feeling. I compare it to Harry Potter and when Voldemort created Horcruxes. A part of your soul is attached to something.
I agree to that.
100%. You can't, like, people, anybody that can go around and be in a physical relationship with anybody and not think anything of it, there's something wrong with them. So, like, we should be teaching an entire gamut of what this is like. It should be social, like a social concept, an emotional concept, a spiritual concept, and the actual thing that's happening.
Absolutely.
Because kids are very easily gullible.
Mm-hmm.
And I love students. I love teenagers. But somebody can convince them to do anything.
Yeah.
I can convince a kid right now to rob a bank if I wanted to. It wouldn't be hard. Because they're kind of gullible. It's Absolutely. Not a bad thing, but it's just what it is. That's where your brain is supposed to be at this point of your life. You're supposed to kind of not know what you're doing. And yeah, we should be teaching more of it.
I agree.
I think we said, if the goal of education is to have productive citizens when they graduate, then we should be doing everything we can and teaching them everything we can in order for them to be truly productive citizens.
Yeah, and to be successful.
They need to know how to change a diaper.
Yes.
100% they do.
Mm-hmm.
They need to know how expensive it is to have a child.
Yes.
They need to know all of it. Because if not, we're not doing a good enough job of preparing them for their future.
No, you're not.
I love this topic.
It's a great topic.
That's the bell. We're going to wait for the end of the bell, and then we'll finish up real quick.
Okay.
I just think that too many people want to put their head in the sands when it comes to topics like this, when it comes to students. And I think that we, as the adults in the room, and the adults that are supposed to be in charge of all of us, don't do a good enough job if we're just going to put our heads in the sand.
I think some of it's maybe fear of parental backlash.
Yeah.
Because why are you talking about this in this class?
I think any good parent worth their salt will understand that they can't sometimes have those conversations with those kids. I'm not saying that it's our responsibility to have those conversations, but we should definitely teach factual information about this stuff.
Yes.
Because we are lucky that we are very open with our kids, but not every parent's that way.
Mm-mm.
Not every parent's that way, and they're not comfortable doing it. And we're professionals, and sometimes we might need to.
Yeah.
Again, in a factual way. I'm not here to try to give people advice, but I think in a factual way, they need to know. But all the topics that they don't want to talk about. I hear you. I think there is some fear. I think school districts probably fear a lot of what's going to happen to me. Mm-hmm. For better or worse, there's elected officials involved in this, and they fear not having the title of Congress, whatever, representative or whatever. That's horrible. That sucks a lot, but I understand. I mean, it's what it is. Yeah, I think we should do a better job of it.
Yeah, I really enjoy talking about it. Because you see something click in them sometimes, and they're like, oh, I didn't think about these things.
Yeah. I agree. I oftentimes am suckered into relationship conversations when I don't want it. Because my face says, Mr. Moreno, I want to tell you everything. And I'm like, I don't really want to. I don't want to. The other day we were having a conversation, and I feel a certain way about high school relationships. I think they're okay, but I don't think they're needed.
They are definitely not needed.
They're not. And I think that they take up too much time and they interrupt a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so I was having this conversation, and Itzel, who I love, was just like, wow, Moreno, you're spitting facts. I was like, first off, I'm not rapping. But secondly, no, I mean, I think that people don't have these conversations with them. They learn it through whatever social media platform that they have. And none of those people on TikTok are doctors. None of them are therapists. They don't know what they're talking about. A vast majority of them. Are there some doctors on there? Probably. I'm sure there's people out there trying to use their information that they have because they studied it to help people. But the vast majority of them are just talking nonsense. My crystal turned this way, and because my crystal turned this way, this is what it means, and you should do that. And I'm like, bro, you're not a doctor. Calm down. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. This is a good topic. We should really. How do we get them to change it?
I don't know.
Elect new people that are in charge of this school.
You got to start at the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not people who factor religion into education.
Yeah. I don't envy people. I personally love our superintendent. I love Danny Massey a lot. I think he's a great guy. I think oftentimes he's put in situations that he can't win. And nobody wants to go into education. That's not the purpose of this. We aren't getting into this to be in the lose-lose. We're in it to try to, help. And I think that oftentimes, especially at the district level, man, he has to make tough choices that aren't always probably his want, but they're needed. And
I agree.
It sucks.
It doesn't matter what your views are, because you really have to follow what the state's views are and what they say.
I agree. Yeah. I appreciate this. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. Yeah, I really love talking about it. The kids are kind of like shocked whenever we first talk about it, but then they're like, they remember it year from year.
Right.
Turn on the lights. If it doesn't look right, say no. And I'm like, and then what do? You walk away.
You walk away.
You walk away and say, no, thank you.
Or no in Spanish. Or, I don't know, nay. That's in Dutch. Nay. I don't know other languages that say it, but it's basically no.
Yeah. No means no.
We can have a whole conversation about consent, too. We could be here for hours talking about that. All right. We're going to wrap it up because we're both hungry and I'm starving.
And it's lunchtime.
And it's Wing Wednesday and I'm going to go get some wings.
I
brought your lunch. All right.
I'm super excited.
Like, subscribe, follow. Follow all of the Beatport videos. We got a lot of new content coming out. We have Beatport broadcast. I think I saw that some of the other classes, weren't y'all doing another podcast that we're trying to put out? No? Maybe. There's other stuff. We're trying to convince Melina to do another video. If you haven't watched the list, go watch it. Gosh, it was a great 45 minutes. Like, so good. Great work. We're gonna get another movie. Maybe. We might do another movie. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna do it. All right. Appreciate it.
Bye.